Hello everyone and welcome back to F1 22 My Team Career Mode for episode 2 of season 2. It has been a very long time since the first episode, I think a couple of months ago by now, but we are back for Imola and you can see that qualifying is going to be dry, the sprint is going to be very wet, and then the race it's going to be dry until right at the end. And then it's going to be wet, apparently. So we'll have to see what happens there. In terms of setup, I am going to just put on a dry setup. We are still the best car currently, as you can see, followed by Red Bull. And then Mercedes, McLaren and Ferrari are pretty close. So then in qualifying, we did a short qualifying and we ended up third place with our teammate Jenson Button in second and Lando Norris in first. And both of us were literally under half a tenth away from getting pole position. So yeah, that was slightly annoying, but we will go into the sprint straight away and it is lights out and away we go. We get a relatively decent start, a little bit of wheel spin, as you can see we're trying to struggle to keep the car in a straight line. You've got Jenson Button here who we decide to go around the outside and we go a little bit deep. We do go a little bit deep. We're just making sure that we don't hit him because, you know, it wouldn't be very good for our team to take out Jenson Button in the first corner. There is a yellow flag already. It looks like there is an Alpine that has got themselves beached, but looks like there's not going to be any sort of safety car or anything, but it does mean that we are in P2 already. Lando Norris though, already 1.5 seconds ahead of us. Madness. I think it is pretty much showing what happens when you do a very dry orientated setup and then go into conditions that require the wet tyre. So yeah, we are pretty slow here. Lap 2, you can see Verstappen has overtaken Jenson Button and is already behind us. We go very deep trying to defend from him because the AI do tend to like to do a bit of a dive bomb into that corner. As we go very deep into the chicane as well, almost missing, well, almost going over the curbs in the second apex. But we do just about manage to avoid that. Do have to be careful in that chicane because with realistic damage on, you can quite often end up damaging the underbody, and yeah, that's pretty much race over, especially in wet conditions, as Lando Norris sets the fastest lap at 128.6 and we cross the line with a 132.6. That is showing you just how much slower we are than Lando Norris. I mean, we're only on lap 3 and he's already 5 seconds ahead of us. This is going to be a battle to keep P2, I think, for the next few laps. I very much doubt we're getting anywhere near Lando Norris. Leclerc is out of the session. You can see on the map there that he is seemingly beached, I don't know, and there's also an Aston Martin that's just stopped as well. But it does mean that a virtual safety car has come out, which helps us quite a lot. It means that the pressure from Verstappen is thwarted for a little while until the VSC ends, which is going to be any time now. Here we go. Not that long of a VSC. It is ending at the end of lap 3, and there we go, straight into the corner. Which yeah, we didn't get the restart very well there, but Jenson Button did manage to overtake Verstappen on that safety car restart. I'm guessing they must have gone wheel to wheel and slowed each other down quite a bit because they are now 2 seconds behind us. We have actually gained a tiny bit of time on Lando Norris. He's now 6.5. I think it was about 7 seconds before the VSC started. But I mean, on to lap 4, it's already 9.3 seconds, and Jenson Button is within 2 tenths behind us. To be honest, in terms of team championship and team orders, it probably would make sense to let Jenson Button past, because he would very much be able to get past us and then pull away. But even if he was, you know, quicker than Lando Norris, I doubt he's going to make up 9 seconds, and Lando Norris is our championship rival at this point. Obviously, in the first race we won, but Lando Norris came second, so yeah, it'll be interesting. And on to lap 6, Jenson Button is into the pits. He must have got some damage when he overtook Verstappen in the VSC restart. That's all I can imagine as to why he's in the pits, because this is a sprint race on wet tyres. Nobody should be having to go into the pits to change tyres, so I'm guessing he got damage. And moving very swiftly onto lap 11, Verstappen is going for a dive bomb on the inside, but he backs out right at the last minute. Probably realising that, you know, you can't fit 2 cars through there, and on the last lap I was not going to be giving him any amount of room, as we go incredibly deep into the chicane once again. Seemingly in these wet conditions we can't quite figure out our braking point, and you can see in the left hand mirror Verstappen is very, very close to us. 2 tenths here. We have to be very thankful that obviously there is no DRS in these wet conditions, as Lando Norris has already won the sprint race, 23 seconds ahead of us. He's pulled a 23-second gap in an 11-lap race. Insane. But we do manage to cross the line, just about picking up P2 with Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, I think, behind us. And we'll see the full results here. Yeah, okay, so Lando Norris, ourselves, Verstappen, then Ricciardo actually, and then Perez. And then, of course, our teammate all the way down at the bottom after he had to make a pit stop down in P17. But yeah, we'll have to see what we can do in the race. Hopefully, we can get past Lando Norris. We'll have to see. But this is the race, and it is dry conditions, so hopefully we'll have a little bit more pace. We've got Max Verstappen on the hards behind us, and we've got an amazing start. Amazing start. We're already ahead of him, ahead of Lando Norris before turn 1. He gives us absolutely no room. We have to go across those sausage curbs. But we managed to keep the car in one piece, and we are through into P1 on lap 1. So yeah, we've got Lando Norris behind us on the mediums, then Max Verstappen on the hards. You got Ricciardo behind him. And then it looks like Sergio Perez on the hards as well. And I think I did see a Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. There we go. He just pops up in P5 there on the mediums. So at the moment, Jeff's saying... Is it Jeff? No, it's Mark now, isn't it? Yeah. Mark is saying that there is no rain yet. But it did definitely say that there's going to be rain at the end. So it will be interesting to see what the Red Bull strategy is. Because maybe they put on the hards hoping that they'll be able to use them all the way until the crossover point in the rain, and then just put on inters or wets, obviously depending on how wet it is. But on to lap 3. DRS is now enabled. We are still in P1. Carlos Sainz on the mediums has managed to get past the 2 Red Bulls, so he has moved himself up into P3. There's actually a huge gap between ourselves, Norris, and then the rest. So obviously Norris is within a second behind us. But I mean, you can see on the map, but also on the timing screens, that Carlos Sainz 5 seconds behind us. Oh, and we almost have a moment there. That allows Norris to think he might be in for a chance to get past us, but we managed to recover very well and take the chicane a lot better than we were doing in the sprint race. But yeah, ourselves and Norris so much faster than everyone else. But on to lap 6, a safety car has been deployed. Not sure why. I can't see any sort of crash on the map, and nobody's retired, so don't know why there is a safety car, but there is. And this means that the field will be bunched up once again. So Sainz, Verstappen, Perez, they're going to be able to come back at us. That 5-second gap I was talking about is very quickly going to go down. But we are to resume racing, and I decide to plant the throttle right onto the final corner, onto the straight. Normally, I think I would wait for the start-finish line, especially on this track, because obviously the straight is very, very long and you can get out-dragged. But given that we put on a very, very low downforce setup, and our car just in general is pretty slippery in the straight, so overall I think in the actual straights we're fine. And you can see that that's typically what is happening, especially is what happened in the sprint, that we're a lot slower than everybody else in the corners, but then on the straights we are just so much faster. So I think that's the one thing that is going for us in this car at the moment. But yeah, we managed to ace the restart. We are still in P1, on to lap 14. The pit window is open. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to come in, because Mark has been telling us that rain is coming in about 10 to 15 minutes, but that would be around sort of lap 24. Yeah, there you go, just confirming again 10 to 15 minutes, and I really don't think that the mediums are going to last another 10 minutes, so we might have to just think about coming in. Obviously, we don't want to let Norris do an undercut on us. That would be the worst thing, to be honest, especially how close he is. He definitely could do an undercut. Just depends on where we would come out. So yeah, I think we are probably going to come in. Once again, we have built a relatively big gap to everyone else. So Carlos Sainz there, 3.2, Verstappen 3.9. The only car we can't shake off at the moment is Lando Norris, but we do decide to come into the pits here, onto the hard tyres. And pretty decent stop, 2.4 seconds. Let's see where we end up coming out. Looks like it is P19. So we've got Nicholas Latifi in the Williams ahead of us on the medium, so he should be coming in relatively soon. But then you do have Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin on the hard, so he might be going a few more laps, so we are going to have to overtake a few of these people. At the moment, 1.1 seconds behind Latifi, but we are very, very quickly catching on these brand new tyres. Hopefully by the time we get to the DRS detection zone, we should have DRS, as we set a purple sector 2 already. So just showing just how quick these new tyres are. It looks like Lando Norris has still not come in yet. I don't know if he's going to be waiting a little bit. We think about going for a dive bomb on Latifi, but decide that there's just not enough room. And it doesn't really matter anyway, because we will get DRS. Does he go into the pits? He doesn't. A couple of the guys ahead do, but Latifi has decided to stay out. It looks like it's because Albon went into the pits. But with DRS and overtake, we've just about got enough horsepower in the car to outdrag him and get past. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get past Lance Stroll at the same time, so we are going to have to keep tracking him down and try and get past him at the next opportunity, because we do not want to get stuck behind any of these people, especially when Lando Norris does decide to come in, because that could be where there is an issue. We look like we're going to go for a dive bomb into the second to last corner here, and we've managed it. I tried to brake just early enough so we would still be behind at the DRS detection point, and I absolutely aced that. So we have we did get DRS. We also set the fastest lap of a 1:18.8 as we go past Lando Norris there, who has just peeled out of the pits and has actually been overtaken by Lance Stroll. So he's going to be battling with him for a little bit, so that is going to slow him down, which is very good for us. Up ahead, we've got Daniel Ricciardo, who still hasn't come in, but onto lap 18, he has come in, and so has Max, and then we just go past Sergio Perez here, who has come in to swap out his hards for medium tyres. But Lando Norris has just set the fastest lap, so he is definitely still on our tail here, trying to get past us. But at the moment, we're okay. He's about 1.7 behind, so he doesn't have DRS yet. And Mark just telling us about our teammate, who is actually doing very, very well this race. But on to lap 26, and the forecast rain has finally fallen. And you can see it all over our visor, and now we are going slowly compared to Lando Norris. He's already gained the second or so that he had behind us, and you can see just how close he is behind us right now. Less than 2 tenths here. I don't know if DRS has been disabled yet or not. We will find out when we go onto the main straight. But I think a lot of overtake usage is in order to make sure we stay ahead of him, because like I say, we do have the benefit of being faster than Lando Norris in the straights. And on this track, that's about the only place you can overtake, apart from when you have a lock-up going into the chicane and Lando Norris almost gets past you. You see a replay here. Going into the chicane, we just turn in and lock up. That allows Lando Norris to look to dive down the inside, but we just about had a good enough exit that he was unable to do so. But he is all over us, and we have another lock-up going into this corner here. He looks down our inside. He's actually ahead of us at this point, but once again, using the overtake and the horsepower of our car, and we are able to outdrag him. So the benefits of a low downforce setup are definitely helping us here. He looks like he's going to try and go down the outside here, and he does. But yeah, like I say, there's never enough room for 2 cars to go down there. On to lap 30. We are still ahead, but Verstappen, Hamilton and Perez are catching us very, very quickly. You can see Max Verstappen 1.9 seconds behind us now. Lando Norris, of course, still with us as usual. No DRS, but in the wet, we just are incredibly slow. And you can see Lando Norris looking down the inside. We take the outside line here. Little bit of a lock-up. We drag the car towards the curb, and that means that Lando Norris was actually forced to back out there and is now in a bit of a battle with Max Verstappen. So our little somewhat cheeky move of just dragging our car towards the curb has allowed us a little bit of breathing room here, with Lando Norris now dropping about 8 to 9 tenths behind us, while also having to try and battle off Max Verstappen. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the battle between them two, but we've just got to last out another 2 laps, basically. On to lap 31, Lando Norris is still behind us, and Max Verstappen even closer now. 2 to 4 tenths between the both of them. Looks like somebody tried to dive down the inside of us, and obviously it didn't work, but it does mean that Max Verstappen is now ahead of Lando Norris. And on to the beginning of lap 32. We are still in P1. We've just got to go one more lap, and then we will win the second race in a row. But we've just got to make sure that Max Verstappen cannot get past us. He is on the mediums, and obviously he's faster than us, but I don't know what that move was there. He sort of just very quickly moved to our inside. Not sure what he was doing. But at the moment, we are still ahead. We are still ahead. We've just got to use all the straight line speed and all the concentration that we possibly can to make sure we do not get overtaken here. And going to the second to last corner, we're still ahead. Max Verstappen 2 tenths behind us. Last corner. And now just a drag race to the line. You can see just how close he is behind us, but we are going to be fine. And we cross the line and win the second race of the season. The second race on the bounce. Our car is looking good. Our car is looking good. At the end of last season, I did not think we'd be winning the first 2 races. I thought, you know, we're going to be top of the midfield, maybe fighting for podiums. But I didn't think 2 race wins were going to be in order. So there we go. That was the Imola race. We got 32 points in total through the sprint and the race. And then 25 from the race itself. With Lando Norris only picking up 15 after he ended up getting overtaken by Max Verstappen. That is very good for us in the championship fight. Probably very annoying for Norris after he'd been tracking us the entire race and then ends up getting overtaken by Max in like the last few laps. But it does mean that we've now pulled a 16-point lead in the championship. Obviously, we are only 2 races in to a 16-race season, so not getting our hopes up too much. But Jenson Button does manage to get himself his first points of the season with 6 of them after a very good recovery drive, getting himself into P7. And then we are actually at the top of the Constructors' Championship as well, but only by a few points. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle, I think, in this championship this year, basically, between ourselves and Lando Norris. And then, in terms of team, obviously ourselves and McLaren as well. Because even though, if you look at the performance chart, McLaren are not the second best car, but Lando Norris is incredibly quick in that car. But, other than that, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that fantastic stuff. And I'll see you next time.